Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here with today's pregame report between the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders. Now, the Islanders are fully in their kind of middle of their retool. I don't really know what they are in terms of their identity. They're not really a playoff team. They're not a lottery team. It's one of those teams that Lou Lamoriello has kind of thrown together and been like, hey, good luck out there. And Patrick Waugh, head coach, there's only so much he can do with the roster he's been given. They did sell at the deadline. Of course, they traded Brock Nelson to the Colorado Avalanche. So for the Islanders, this is a team that is more or less looking forward to, next season, the off season, as they continue to kind of rebuild themselves. And for the Edmonton Oilers, this is a team that's supposed to be a cup contender. Oh my God, my voice is already ruined. This is a team that is supposed to be a cup contender. However, they have not been playing like a cup contender, I would argue, for the majority of this season. And I actually went back. I was, trying to think of my talking points today, and it all comes back down to team identity. What is the Edmonton Oilers team identity? And I went back to the first week of the season because I remember talking about this pretty early on. And in fact, it was after the third game of the season. You remember when the Oilers started 0-3? It was after they had just lost to the Calgary Flames. I did a day after discussion, uploaded this on October 14th, 2024. So several months ago now. And it was the discussion of their 5-2 loss to Chicago, their 4-1 loss to Calgary. And my main talking points in this video was about their identity crisis. Didn't know what kind of team they were because they're not a skilled team. They're not a speed team. They're not a physical team. They're not a mean team. They're not a defensive team. What are they? They have an identity crisis. And the fact that we are this close to the playoffs, we are now in March, and they still have this identity crisis. That, to me, is why I'm putting a lot of blame on Chris Knobloch's shoulders right now. As a head coach, you should be able to fully articulate exactly what type of team you want to be, what team you are, and then make sure the players know what type of game that they're supposed to play. Right now, for the Edmonton Oilers, they are playing a low-event, boring style of game that is meant to suppress shots against, and that is meant to suck all the life out of your opponent in terms of, excitement. But the Oilers don't have the scoring depth to manage that. And they don't have the goaltending that can handle that either. So they have an identity crisis. And then in the same video, I talked about the bottom six and the top six forwards just not producing and looking a little off. I talked about the defense looking off, and I talked about the goaltending being abysmal. And I was like, do we hit the panic button? Now, at the time, I was like, absolutely not. Why would we hit the panic button 3 games into the season? And of course, the team did turn things around. They started playing much, much better, and we were all happy in oil country for about 2 months. But since the beginning of February, it has been I would even argue since the end of January. That final week of January heading into February, we could see the wheels starting to, come off a little bit. There was a lot of us here in oil country, and all of you in the comments, you had been pointing it out too. The team was finding ways to win games, but they weren't looking strong while doing it. And right now they're not winning games. And when you're not winning games and you also still look pretty poor in terms of all 3 zones, there's a big problem here. The Edmonton Oilers have a big problem. They need to find a way to turn things around right now, because if they don't, and I know fans don't want to hear it because this is a coaching carousel organization. It's always the head coach, right? It always falls on the head coach. In some situations, yes, it does. And I think for Chris Knobloch right now, I don't think he's lost the room. I do think the players are trying, and I think they're playing what he wants them to play, but he is not instilling confidence in that group, and he's not instilling confidence in me as a fan right now. I know this intro is really long talking about the coach and, just different things with this team, but I needed to provide context for why I'm talking about this. This has been a problem all season, since October, and to me, it falls back on the coaching. But just like all these pregame reports, we're going to go through the projected lineups, the keys to the game, the stats, all that good stuff. So make sure you let me know who your player to watch is and your score prediction, because I think we're all not feeling great right now. I'm trying to stay positive, keep spirits up, but it is pretty difficult to do that when the team is in the absolute dumps like they have been. They are now 3rd place in the Pacific Division. LA leapfrogged them last night. And LA has a game in hand as well. So projected lineups here for your Edmonton Edmonton Oilers now, because it is the second half of a back-to-back. I don't think that they were doing a morning skate, at least as of the recording of this video. No morning skate. I don't know what the actual lines are. These are what the lines started as yesterday. Now, that top line, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman, has not been producing nearly enough. Ryan Nugent Hopkins is an absolute ghost these days. They need a lot more from him. And even though Connor McDavid is starting to produce once again, the team is not winning, and that is probably not making him happy at the moment. Yesterday, when the Oilers got down 1-0 in that second period, Chris Knoblauch immediately went to the Draisaitl McDavid nuclear option. Immediately. Now, he started the game with Skinner and Arvidsson on Draisaitl's wings. Leon Draisaitl ended up playing 25 minutes last night. Jeff Skinner played 11 minutes. Victor Arvidsson played 11 minutes. Now, I don't know in what world that is acceptable when, your supposed second line is those three players, Skinner, Draisaitl, Arvidsson, and then by the end of the game, one of those players plays 14 minutes more than the other two. That is a big problem, and that is something else that Chris Knoblauch has been driving me mental with. Chris Knoblauch, right now, this is a huge problem, and this is on his shoulders to try and figure out. We can argue about the personnel. We can argue about Jeff Jackson and all the no-move clauses. We can argue to death about the actual roster. This roster on paper, take a good, close look at it. This team on paper should be much better than what they are. They should be able to play at a pace that is much higher than they have been, and they should be able to score many more goals than they've been able to produce. There is no reason why this lineup cannot produce right now. And yes, Adam Henrique, his game's regressing because he's older. Yes, Zach Hyman, we knew he wouldn't shoot 22% again like he did last year and score 50 goals. I understand that. I understand that there is regression sometimes, but this is a good team. This is a good lineup. This is a good forward group, and the fact that there is major problems up and down the lineup, and it's not just one player. It is the majority of the forwards. The only forward that has been producing consistently all year is Leon Draisaitl. That's just wild to me. Crazy to me. Third line, Podkolzin, Henrique, Brown. Fourth line, Jones, Kapanen, and Perry, although I have no idea if Jones is going to be in the lineup. Chris Knoblauch seemed to have called him out last night after the game. Don't know why Max Jones is the one that gets called out when it wasn't really, his fault that New Jersey went and scored that second goal. But in any case, that was a Chris Knoblauch thing. On defense, Walmart. Oh my God, Walmart. Wallman with Bouchard, Nurse with Stetcher, Kulak, Emberson. I don't know if Klingberg is going to find himself in the lineup today or on Sunday. He is with the team. Ekholm is not with the team right now. Ekholm is still dealing with something, whether it's illness or injury, so Ekholm is not available. And then Calvin Pickard, he is going to get the start tonight. Now, let's take a look at the game day stats. On paper, the Edmonton Oilers should be wiping the floor with the New York Islanders. However, this is one of those games where I'm just not looking forward to. The Islanders as a team, it's one of those teams. They are 29, 28, and 7 on the season, 4 and 6 in their last 10 games. Expected goals for, the Islanders rank 16th. Their power play, one of the worst power plays I've ever seen in the history of hockey. 11.9% ranks 32nd. Their penalty kill, one of the worst penalty kills I've ever seen in hockey history. And that's saying something because Edmonton's penalty kill is also abysmal. Ranks 31st in the NHL. The Islanders only score 2.69 goals per game, which ranks 28th. They give up 2.98 goals per game, which ranks 17th. Corsi for ranks 16th, and shots for ranks 14th. Now looking over on the Oilers side, 37, 24, and 4, 3 and 7 in their last 10 games. They've only won 3 of their last 11 overall. It is an absolute travesty in oil country right now. Expected goals for remains 4th in the NHL. Power play ranks 5th. Penalty kill ranks 24th. Now last night, Matthias Janmark, he did not play because he was sick. And everyone always says, you can't scratch Janmark because of the penalty kill. Well, the penalty kill went 3 for 3 without Janmark last night, and I thought the kill actually looked the best it has all season long without him. The more Janmark is not in the lineup, the happier I am. However, I think we all know when Janmark is feeling better, he will be back in this lineup, but I just wanted to point that out there because I'm feeling feisty this morning because of where we are in oil country, and I got so much energy right now. So good. The Oilers, they score 3.2 goals per game, which ranks 9th. Their goals against per game ranks 15th in the NHL. That continues to drop mightily in the wrong direction. Corsi for ranks 4th, and shots for percentage ranks 3rd. So the Oilers, they technically have the advantage in every single statistical category that I have on screen. But it's one of those teams in the New York Islanders. I am just terrified about this game. I am not looking forward to watching it, and I really hope that the Edmonton Oilers can prove me wrong and get a big win. Keys to the game for the Oilers. Number one, identity. What is it? Establish your identity early in the game. I don't care what it is, even if it's just a one-game identity, establish some kind of identity early. Do it within the first few shifts. Let the fans know. Let me know. I need to know how you're going to play this game. Because if you're just going to be a laid-back, nonchalant, neutral zone, just low event, keep things to the perimeter, you're not going to go far. That's just the reality. Not with this roster. You're just not going to go far. Make the save. Now, what do I mean by the save? Well, if it's a tie game in the third period, make the save. Make that one save that keeps the game tied. Make that one save that prevents you from going down late in a game or in the third period or whenever, if you have the lead, whatever the case is, make the save. Last night, Stuart Skinner made some pretty big saves in that second period for Edmonton, but he didn't make the save when they had to have it in the third. They gave up 6 shots in the third period last night to New Jersey. 2 of them went in. You cannot have that. And that is one of the reasons why fans are so up in arms over the goaltending, because they never get the save. They need one tonight. And of course, the Oilers, they're in a huge rut. This is one of the biggest ruts this team has been in since their 2-9-1 start last season before Jay Woodcroft was fired. They need to dig deep. They need to dig the F in. They need to dig deep. They have to find it within themselves. They have to find a way to turn this around because the trade deadline's gone. You ain't getting any reinforcements. Trent Frederick's still a couple weeks away, right? Evander Kane, he won't be ready until the playoffs. So this team right now, what they have, this is it. There's nothing coming up from the AHL to save you. You're not getting a new goalie. You're likely not getting a new head coach. This team has to dig deep. For the New York Islanders, score early. The earlier that you can score, the sooner you're going to take Edmonton out of this game. This is now a mental battle for Edmonton. If the Islanders score early and score the first goal, this game's over. Edmonton will not find a way to come back to win. That's just the reality at this situation, at this moment, I should say. Of course, trap. The Islanders, they can play a trap game. They don't always play the trap game, but Patrick Roy, his system is very trap styled. You know, there isn't really a true trap anymore in today's NHL just because of the speed of the game. However, the Islanders slow things down a lot, and they are very hard to puncture through the neutral zone, and that will frustrate Edmonton as well. And of course, force mistakes. That also comes in the territory of trapping. Force Edmonton to make mistakes. Just put pressure on Edmonton. If you put pressure on the Oilers, you don't even have to hit them. Just having speed, having someone come in on the defender, they're going to give the puck up. The Oilers, I think, had 20 giveaways yesterday against the Devils. Like, it's just horrible right now. The Oilers are their own worst enemy, and the Islanders, all they have to do is just put some pressure on them, and they're going to have a ton of success tonight. My players to watch, of course, for the Edmonton Oilers, the only player that's worth watching these days is, of course, Leon Draisaitl, though I will say Connor McDavid has been much better as of late. McDavid has 9 points in his last 5 games. Draisaitl has 3 goals in his last 5 games. So Draisaitl is on Rocket Richard watch. He's also sort of on Art Ross watch, but I would imagine Nathan McKinnon likely still finishes ahead of him in the Art Ross race, but we will have to find out. If the Oilers are going to go down with the ship, if this ship is going down, then there's something I have to cheer for, and that's Draisaitl getting every potential award imaginable this season. And for the Islanders, my player to watch is Bo Horvat. He has 20 goals on the season. Former Vancouver Canuck. The Oilers have seen a lot of Bo Horvat in his career, so he is the player to watch for me for the Islanders. Now, what the heck is my score prediction going to be? Make sure you tell me your score prediction right now before I reveal this one. Unfortunately, I'm going to go 4-1 Islanders. This is just one of those games where I just have that feeling in the pit of my stomach. I just don't feel good about it. The Oilers, they tend to struggle against teams like the Islanders. Yes, Edmonton did beat New York 4-3 earlier this season, but with where they are in the season right now and with how much they've been struggling, second half of a back-to-back, they're going to have to prove me wrong here. They're going to have to prove me wrong. I want to be proven wrong right now. I want the Edmonton Oilers. I want them to win 7-1, 8-1, whatever the score could end up being. But I'm predicting a 4-1 Islanders win. I'm taking the realistic route here. That is it from me. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for your support. As always, it means the world. I've just been ranting this whole pregame report. So if you're still watching at this point, I do appreciate that. And all of the support as of late, the amount of subscriptions that I've received over the past week or so has been incredible. The amount of comments, the likes, the engagement. Thank you all so much for being part of this. We have a terrific, amazing community here, and things kind of suck right now. Hopefully they can start to turn around. Hopefully we can start to find some positives before the playoffs, assuming this team can make the playoffs, because it's getting a little getting a little nervous now. We're getting a little nervous in oil country. But until we know for sure what the heck is going to be going on with this team, I will try and remain as positive as I can. So again, thank you all for your support. It means the world. Make sure to tell someone that you love them before the game tonight. And as always, I wear this every day. Fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers.